Okay, so I had my assignment on language milestones from ages 7 to 9. Expressive language is the first category, and expressive language is going to be anything that you can hear them say, so anything that the student says. So they use most parts of speech. Grammar is mostly acquired. They know that the exceptions to grammatical rules and that they are mastered. They use and understand passive sentences. Uses increasingly complex sentences in regular communication, asks and answers factual and inferential questions, gives directions with 3 to 4 steps, and begins to give synonyms and categories the word with definitions. Production of figurative language begins and increases. Some examples of this would be don't let the cat out of the bag, it's raining cats and dogs, and you're pulling my leg. Receptive language. So this is what the kids are actually doing. So they'll follow 4-step oral directions, understand direction words, demonstrate understanding of grade level stories by answering questions, and then understands words and multiple meanings. Narrative development, so they have complex episodes or multiple episodes. They'll understand that narratives have a theme, a character, plot, logically sentient, sequenced, temporarily ordered, initiating even, action, consequences, emotion, and resolution, which are all parts of a basic narrative. Contains at least 5 story grammar elements. For reading, they'll use phonics strategies when reading sounds, syllables, words, and phrases. They'll recognize more words by sight, so 200 words. They'll reread and self-correct when necessary, which is part of the running records when we do running records. The student uses meaning clues when reading, so pictures, headings, titles, which is really important when reading to notice the other things on the page other than just the words. Locates information to answer questions, explains key elements of a story, the main idea, character, plot, identifies and uses spelling patterns in words, uses and identifies spelling patterns in words. Did I just already say that? Yeah. Sorry. Uses own experience to predict and justify what will happen next, reads a story, paraphrases, and retells story sequences, and can read 80 words per minute. Writing, the student will write legibly, uses a variety of sentence types in writing essays, poetry, short stories, fiction and nonfiction genre, uses basic punctuation and capitalization, spells frequently used words, progresses from inventive spelling to independent writing to more accurate spelling. Social and play, opens and closes conversations appropriately, so not just leaving a conversation open-ended. I work with children that do that a lot, so stays on topic, takes turns, uses eye contact during conversation, clarifies and explains words and ideas when conversation breaks down, gives background information or definitions of words, uses language to inform, persuade, and entertain. The ability to take others' perspectives increases, which also increases ability to persuade 7 and 9 years. So that's not, that is the whole 7 and 9 years. Uses language to establish and maintain social status, which is also the whole 7 and 9 years, and begins to understand jokes and riddles based on sound similarities. What kind of shows? This should be do cows like to watch, and then it says musicals. One of my students actually tells the joke from home that says, knock knock, who's there? Interrupting cow, who? And then when you go to say interrupting cow, who? He'll go moo and yell out in front of you. And it's super functional. He thinks it's super funny, and I think it's awesome that he can tell a knock knock joke to me. So this is going to be expressive language for ages 8 to 9, which is a little different than the 7 to 9 from earlier. A lot of it's the same. So what's different is that it explains what has been learned, and it uses a variety of words, not just the same words over and over again, which I even find myself struggling with a lot while writing papers. So yeah, that was different from that. So this is the same as well. The ability to take others' perspectives increases, which also increases the ability to persuade, and uses language to establish and maintain social status, or the two that are 7 to 9, not necessarily. Together. Intervention strategies for language. So I went ahead and put this in the PowerPoint. So here's how you could do some intervention strategies for language. You can focus on interactive communication, use active listening, which is an important factor in any classroom. Incorporate the student's interests into speech. Ensure that the student has a way to appropriately express their wants and needs. Whether this be a communication device or something high-tech like Proloquo or LAMP, or something low-tech like PEX, or just even something as simple as using BoardMaker to make a choice board. Reinforce communication attempts, their gestures, partial verbalizations. When the student is nonverbal or emerging verbal, paraphrase back what the student has said or indicated. Use storybook sharing in a story is read to a student and responses are elicited. Praise is given for appropriate comments about the content. Ask open-ended, appropriate questions. So this is another page. I'm not going to read all of this because I don't have enough time on this, so I'll just read a couple of them. Works at the student's pace, encourages reading and writing daily, use tactile and visual cues, incorporate vocabulary with unit being taught, provides fun activities that are functional and practical, which is super important for children on the autism spectrum. Here, a lot of interventions, obviously, because not all interventions work for all students, but so these are for speech. So speak directly to the student, be a good speech model. So make sure that when you're talking to your students, you're using a good model and have a good speaking voice. Encourage participation in the classroom, activities and discussions, model acceptance and understanding in the classroom, use a peer buddy system when appropriate, model correct speech patterns and avoid correcting speech difficulties, and be patient with the student as speaking, since rushing may result in frustration. Here's some interventions for behaviors. So reducing unnecessary classroom noise as much as possible. A lot of teachers don't realize, but the white noise in the background can really be distracting to a lot of students, even if it's just a pencil tapping or somebody tapping their nails or anything, really. Somebody chewing on something can be really distracting for students. Provide verbal clues often, speak clearly and deliberately, redirect the student frequently and provide step-by-step directions, repeating when necessary. Allow students to tape lectures, allow more time for a student to complete activities, and then to modify activities to accommodate the students. Allowing more time during tests. The This isn't just for this age group, this also continues on into high school and college. Design tests and presentations that are appropriate for the student. So like given written tests instead of oral, or whatever you may need to do to accommodate those students that have more needs. Allow extra time for them to complete them assignments, have routines. Routines are so important for our students. And establishing communication goals related to student work, experiences, and plan strategies for transition from school to employment and adult life. So here's some interventions for physical. Be aware that because of the way that the brain develops, it is easier to acquire language and communication skills before the age of 5. Be aware that if children have muscular disorders, hearing problems, or developmental delays, their acquisition of speech language and related skills may be affected. Use augmentative communication systems to ensure that nonverbal students and students with severe physical disabilities have effective ways to communicate, and ensure that students have access to their portable communication device across all contexts all of the time. This is something that our speech pathologists really stress, and something that we try to really stress in our school is always making sure that our students have their words with them. If they don't have their words with them, you're taking away their ability to communicate with you. So you always want to make sure that they have that on them. A lot of behaviors in our school are caused from students not being able to communicate their wants or needs to you due to a lack of device, or just due to them not having enough experience with it. But once they learn how to express their wants and needs and get back on track to be able to tell us what they need, the classroom runs more smoothly. So here's the YouTube videos. I'm not going to show them due to a lack of time on this screencast, but you can watch both of them. They're really great videos. I put 2 on there just because they're kind of different, and one kind of walks you through a lecture and the other one kind of just shows examples. So I thought that they were both really beneficial to have on this. And then there's my references. Awesome, thanks.